morning and welcome to ATN Network Television. ATN Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network featuring chit-chatting and conversation on special interest topics, news, events and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinions and stakeholders analysis. Today we'll be looking at petition against me. This is coming from Okowa. And in Edo State, Okpebolo inaugurates SSG and AG. And nobody is sleeping, we are working. This is coming from Tunji Ojo, the Minister of Interior. And in Benue State, troops set to combat Lukurawa sets. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, and National Agency for Food, Drug and Administration Control partners together to protect public health. And NNPCL and Dangote signed 10 years gas supply. Delta State, do stay with us and we'll get back to the news and details. Welcome back, and with us at the studio today we have the Trinity, amazing personality. On my left we have Chief Bonawoke. He is a former House of Reps member. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much.
He is also a host for Port Harcourt Telegram. And then we have Mr. Silver. And with us we have the amazing comrade Oscar Imebe Savior. He is a national president for South Youth Initiative.
Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning, sir. It's always a pleasure to have all of you here.
Thank you very much.
It's beautiful. I'm glad to have all of you here at the studio. So the news now, a petition written several months ago, but unfortunately, with the politics of our time, some people decided to ensure that Okowa must be invited by EFCC. People are genuinely uncomfortable about Okowa, and I was actually invited and I went there by myself, and the first thing I saw was that they said I misappropriated 1.3 trillion naira, and I said, do you know the kind of money you are talking about? To successfully take 1.3 trillion, it means you have to be taking between 16 billion and 20 billion every month into your pockets. I don't even know if the president of this country will be able to do that, not to talk of the governor of the state. Personally, I am not against investigation because the EFCC has to do its job. The truth, they will stop. But for those who sent a wrong communication, it is rather unfortunate, he said. I pray for them because when you allow yourself to be used as a tool, when the evil starts to come, the impact will be so much. But I pray that God will forgive them. These were the words of the former governor of Delta State. Okay, I'm sorry.
All right. I think that Okowa won't be the first in this, and I'm very certain. I'm very certain that since he was detained and also it happened.
So do you feel that, like he stated, do you feel that there are people that actually did this petition against him and wanted to bring his name on the black book?
When I was in the civil service, I was told that if you are not petitioned, you have not grown in the service. So, of course, there are people, whistleblowers, people who probably have a grudge against the man. Somehow, too, people who genuinely think that people should be called to account.
Okay.
Because we are talking increasingly about transparency in service. So, all of these factors put together, and of course, there will be political opponents.
Okay. I'll hold the thought on that. Mr. Bill, I would like to know, why do you think this petition was not was not done while he was in office? Why do you think they had to wait until after he left office to, bring this into book?
Of course, for a sitting governor is covered by immunity. He is not allowed to go through the process of criminal law while in office. But when he has left office, he is like any other person in the society, like other citizens. So, my thought is, even if the petition had come when he was in office, it would at best be more or less, and at the end of the day, it will only be fully attended to when he has left office.
So you're saying, in essence, that because of the immunity he has at the point in office, laws cannot be passed. He cannot be held accountable for anything that he has done against the law.
Not that he cannot be held accountable, but to make it straight, this is how it is. For a sitting governor and a sitting president, let's limit it to Nigeria.
Okay.
They are covered by presidential immunity, or what do you call it? The immunity that covers the governor, and that is constitutional. He cannot be tried in a court of law for a criminal offense as at that time that he is the sitting governor or he is the sitting president. But from the day he has left, from the point, in fact, from that minute he leaves office, if there is a petition against him, he can be taken right after handing over.
Okay. Comrade Oscar, do you think that most times individuals contest for a particular position in office, they would have this in mind that, okay, if I get into office, on a thought, do you think, because he's talking about immunity, when you're in office, you can, it's more like you can do whatever and get away with it at that.
They're not sufficient.
Okay.
Now, people who must need to invest confidence. You know, part of this is an investigative approach of the EFCC.
Okay.
That's why I said in the beginning that you have an
off, and that's exactly what he has done. It is, as he goes further, the people will be watching to see how it is going. But there is something he has said that is striking, and I give that to him at this beginning. He has particularly pointed out so much from him. Let us work together to achieve.
Tinubu's administration came on board, adding that the Boko Haram terrorists.
I won't take it seriously because Bumi is a core politician. He was a former House of Rep member, and he was a House of Rep member in the House of, I think he was in charge of NDDC when we were having an unconstituted NDDC. And I know how many times we took protests to Abuja to ensure that the NDDC board was constituted. And Bumi had that responsibility because that was part of his office to have ensured that the NDDC board was constituted. Then we have the former, the current Senate President, who was the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs.
Is critical to all Nigerians, and anything that we must do rationally, including chasing those militants who are taking advantage of those porous borders.
So what do you think has to be done? What do you think they should do?
What has to be done? America came when an American citizen was stolen, because that's what these kidnappers do now. I call it theft. Now, when such a thing happened, America broke all traditions, all rules. They came here and took their person. So I don't know why once in a while Nigerian army that was strong cannot go across the border. Yes.
Sorry, is it? I'm sorry. Let's hold your thought on that. Is it that Mr. Bill? Is it
Silver Bill?
Silver Bill?
Yeah.
Is it that these particular people are not taking this situation seriously? Is it that the opinion about this? Is it that they're not making moves to, work on these terrorist attacks in the?
Well, the first thing I have to say is this: when you keep doing one thing, different result, you must do it a different way. That's one. If you want to get a new and better result, then seek to do a new and better thing. Technology, on the one hand. On the other hand, intensifying whatever effort you are doing in the process. For instance, why our brother comrade Oscar was speaking, the first thing that came to mind was this. This is Nigerian army that was seen as the strongest in Africa. All of a sudden,